Alright guys, TacticalRab again today. Hope you're doing good and enjoying your day so far, with so much speculation going around at the moment as to which rosters are going to be formed from now until the start of the new season. Clayster, who is currently linked to the Carolina Royal Ravens, has revealed this is very likely to be his final season in the CDL, and he will almost certainly retire at the end of this season. Not because he doesn't enjoy playing, not because he doesn't believe he's got more in the tank, but just because all the drama of the off-season has been massively taking its toll on Clayster over the last couple of years. Very much intrigued to hear your thoughts on the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I would greatly appreciate it. First of all, I know there was some drama about this. I don't know if this is like a satire post or something, because I feel like this is a known thing that happens. But so here we go. We've got this skin in the game, and usually the way this works is the character model will be the same, the hitbox will be the same, but there's obviously certain parts of the character model, such as like the horns here or whatever, that obviously you're going to be shooting through, because you know, no one would use this skin if your hitbox was just so much larger. Yes, it looks a little bit funky that you can shoot through things, but still, it's kind of like a known thing. So I don't really know why this blew up so much. Maybe it was just a troll post. I can't really tell. There was also some money 8s going down, some respawn 8s. You can see the grinders back in business as well. Drazah is always here with like 0 exceptions. He's always on the grind. This is Cold War as well they've been doing. Thought it was kind of cool to see that Dashy was playing this actually. Dashy and Slasher, who of course had, you know, their fair share of a little bit of beef back in the day on the OpTic Los Angeles days, when they both came into that team thinking they were going to run a main AR. Then Dashy was on to the sub. It didn't go quite so well for him. Not his best year competing. The other team was Drazah, Arcetes, Gwyn and Kremp, and that's interesting to look at some of these guys. We'll talk about these players probably again in a second when we discuss Clayster's potential team, where these guys might end up. There have been teams such as with Gwyn and with Neptune spotted there in the challenger sides, but you know, there's questions to me as to whether players like GodRx and Neptune and these guys that have been linked to teams in challengers, teaming with Donnie Temp actually, could still be options for the remaining teams in the Pro League. I think probably what's happened is that some of these challenger players have realised that the CDL teams, especially some of them, are moving so slowly, they can't really afford just to, you know, wait until those teams decide before they lock up their rosters. Because quite often what happens is the teams in challenges wait for like all of the CDL teams to get their players and confirm, then they'll form their challenger teams. Okay, they'll usually have some idea, right, I want to play with this guy, I want to play with that guy, but it's quite rare that you see full lineups, as we've seen rumored over the last couple of days, while there's still like 3 teams that haven't confirmed anything. And apparently Los Angeles Grillers, I mean, there's really no one linked to that roster at all. Maybe they're still trying to sell it, I don't know. They probably are, but apparently they will be forced to field the roster, and there will be 12 teams, but still that remains to be seen, because everyone as part of the Los Angeles Grillers is gone. Arcetes, of course, is gone. Their entire team of players is gone. Ricky, their kind of head coach, general manager, maybe is gone. So I don't really know what's going on there right now. But yeah, maybe these guys still have a chance to get a spot at some point. But those were the teams yesterday. And yeah, Dashy and Sasha, interesting duo for sure, playing 8s together. Now let's talk about the Clayster situation. It's quite clear that as the players get older through their career, especially as you start to be teaming for the lower teams down, it starts to become a much more challenging off-season scenario. Now, I know that Clay tweeted this out, only me. My life is just the absolute most insane movie ever. So I don't know what's going on here with Clay. Hopefully all well with him, of course. But if you're teaming, let's say you're one of the best players in the game. You're aBeZy, you're Simp, you're, let's say, Priestahh or whatever. Your off-season drama is relatively quick. Yes, champs ends. All the teams make changes, but if you're a top pick, you will get signed within 2 weeks. I mean, the drama for those players isn't particularly long-lasting, right? Like if you're Pred, for example, you're on Seattle Surge, you knew you were a free agent, you maybe had a couple of opportunities, maybe FaZe were going to be interested, OpTic was clearly the one that Pred wanted to go to and the team that wanted Pred. Pred, you know, has that discussion, gets the deal signed, and within a couple of weeks, he's on OpTic, no problem at all. He can go on holiday and just, you know, do a tour of the US or Europe, or I'm pretty sure he went around all sorts of different countries, chill out, have a nice time on OpTic's dime, while they're paying you to not even play the game, because they're, you know, paying you a salary for every month, but of course, you only play the game in a few months' time. Whereas if you're a player such as Clayster or someone kind of in the end of their career or has been on the great teams and now is kind of going around the teams in the midfield or slightly lower down, these teams will not sign immediately, right? They're not interested in trying to get the Simp and aBeZys or any of these guys that pay big money to sign these guys out of their contract or anything. They will take their time. So the drama behind the scenes for these guys lasts for a much longer time, especially when you're talking teams like Vegas and Ravens and the budget teams that don't want to sign anyone at all if they can avoid it for as long as possible, because then they can reduce the amount of salaries they're paying during the off-season. So this is the challenge, right? That if you're a top dog, at least one of the top 10 players in the league, and you're a free agent or there's potential roster mania, that is, you know, probably quite exciting for guys like Drazah and others. Okay, it's not necessarily fun waking up every day, you know, checking your phone, checking your DMs, like all the potential drama. Like, you know, I know that Methods used to talk about this, that he would constantly be, you know, kind of paranoid that he'd pick up his phone and then he'd been snaked by his teammates, right? And sometimes that happens, and that's not fun for the pros. For the, you know, for the real top guys, it's probably not a bad time. But when you get further down in terms of desirability, I guess, and you know, Clayster, of course, still a phenomenal player, but he's not, you know, the top 4, top 6 teams aren't going to be interested in Clayster, well, they at least weren't this past season, makes things more challenging. And this is what Clayster gets into yesterday. That's like, I still think Clay's got what it takes. If I was building a team, I would definitely have Clay right at the, you know, very near the top of my priority list if I was building a team for some of these rosters that are remaining. But at the same time, does he want to go for too much longer? He probably thinks that, he says here that he's still got enough in the tank, but it's just this period, especially when this period can be up to like 6 months long. It's almost half a year, at least 3 to 4 months. I mean, the Champs was in June. Here we are in the middle of October, 4 months down the line, and Clay still hasn't signed a contract. He said it on stream the other day that, yeah, like he probably knows what he's doing, but, you know, the contract hasn't been signed. It's not been locked in yet, which just, you know, it's frustrating for sure. And it's this part of the season that he just doesn't want to deal with, right? Sure, playing the game, he actually finds fun. He enjoys it a lot and enjoys the process throughout the entire season. But if half of your year is just stress and frustration when new rosters are being formed and you're like towards the bottom of the list, that probably is going to take its toll to such an extent that Clay's decided, you know what, this is probably going to be it for me after this season is over.
Tell me this isn't the last
We're
rodeo
trying for
this year.
Chicago, right?
Ah, bro.
No, we're doing Atlanta right now.
Atlanta?
It might be.
We could do Chicago though.
This,
Yeah,
this
we
You
might,
probably give it like a few more
this
times.
might be the last rodeo.
You want me to give it to you?
Keep trying. Try a couple more times.
I haven't really talked about it much because I don't like making certainties in life. I don't like saying I don't like finality in life, like never, or you know, putting a stamp on it. But most likely this is gonna be it. I'm not leaning that direction, but unless I stay on a team during the off season and I don't have to do roster mania like off season bullshit again, I'm down. But if the team I'm on, if I get like cut or like they don't re-sign me or whatever, I'm not doing it again, bro. I love playing, I love competing, I love grinding every day, but I am so over off-season bullshit, bro. Just so over the off-season shit, man. I'm so over it. It's just, dude, I'm so sick of just like worrying about so much shit, bro. Starting to wear me down. Like, I don't mind the actual playing the game part of it. It's all the stuff out of it. Like, I don't mind scrimming every day. I don't mind having like a sketch schedule during the season, like, and spending extra time doing VOD and scrimming all day. Like, I actually don't mind that shit. Like, you know, playing a video game for a living. Like, I have perspective on the situation, so it's like I'm super grateful that that's what I have to do to make a living. But it's the stuff outside of it. It's literally like from before the season starts or before the game comes out or after the game ends, after champs to before the game comes out. That period, it's miserable now. I'm so over it, bro. Unknown is always scary, man. But like I've networked enough. Like I'll have a job. Like after competing, like whatever, if it's not streaming or coaching, like I'll still have a job. And like, I don't even want to, like, I think coaching is probably a bad idea for me. It would be the easiest thing for me to do. But if I actually wanted to like keep elevating and keep pushing the boundaries of Clayster brand and stuff,
gotta be,
and like what I can accomplish, like try and do some nade shot shit. Like, obviously I have a good mind for the thing, like the whole landscape, and I have a lot of connections, and you know, there's a world where I just get done competing, sign with FaZe as a content creator, and just run it the fuck up with Zuma. I mean, who the fuck knows, man? There's so many different things that could happen, and so many different ways it could go, and I have no idea. And I feel like that's the part of me, like, I always feel like I need to be in control of like situations.
So it's kind of sad to hear from Clay's perspective, but it does make an awful lot of sense, to be honest, that unless, let's say he joins Ravens, that's the current rumor, unless they're like really good and they actually decide, you know what, Clay, we're going to keep you around, no dramas, no hassles, that's probably not going to happen, just because we know what Ravens have done the last few years. Even if he goes to Vegas, or, you know, I guess the ideal for Clay might be that he gets signed, let's say mid-season, a team like New York. Okay, maybe that's unlikely, but maybe there's another team that is in a better position financially, maybe, that decides, you know what, Clay, you could be the guy to turn our year around. Because let's not forget, this season, Clay to Seattle was a possibility. Pretty sure that Phoenix and Clay, they talked about that, right? That Clay said that Phoenix, the coach of Surge, had talked to Clay and said, yeah, we're going to get you in for accuracy. That never happens. If that would have happened and Clay could have joined that team, then maybe Clay is in a position where Seattle say, don't worry, Clay, we got you, we're going to keep you on, because Seattle have some more money behind them than other organizations do. So if Clay could be confident that he's going to stay where he is, then I think that he would be, you know, not too concerned about this. But the idea of going through another offseason where he gets released by the team and that he's got to do all the networking and everything to just get paid a salary that isn't going to be anything crazy anyway, just for Clay, it doesn't seem so worth it anymore. But I think it's good that he's still believing and committed to his actual gameplay, just because, you know, if I'm going to go team with someone going into the new year and I hear him say, oh yeah, this is probably my final year, I'm thinking like, well, you know, does he really think that he's got what it takes anymore? Is he still like fully committed? I guess it can work both ways, because if Clay says, all right, this is probably going to be it for me, guys, in the same way that Crimsix might have done, or even Scump as well, where, you know, there was some belief that maybe that was going to be Scump's last year in Modern Warfare 2, and he said it, right? He said he was going to retire at the end of the MW2 season. So the pressure was then on the team, all right, we've got to deliver here. Scump's going to be going, you know, balls to the wall to try and win champs and win something in his final year competing. And then it turned out he didn't last too much longer, right? So I don't know whether that's a chance here for Clay, that if he's already kind of made up the decision mentally that he's going to call it a day, could a Scump type situation happen where he then retires quicker than he says. So intrigued to your thoughts in the comments below. It's unfortunate that these legends are going to be stepping away. I think that probably many of us expected that this probably would be Clayster's last year, and now that he's saying it pretty explicitly that it will be. But look, Scump said the same thing before last season, and he lasted all of about a month and a half. So hopefully Clay, like, you know, can ride it out the entire season, assuming that he does get on the Ravens, which is the present belief. The rumor was, for some time we thought it was going to be maybe Clay attached plus Stanley plus one. That doesn't look likely anymore. Seems like Attach and Stanley are going to go to Vegas. So Clay on Ravens plus 3. And we heard the names linked of Nero and Fame, although Clay then said false to that, as did Zuma. So maybe it's just Clay and Nero, and then looking for 2. Kremp, I mean, there's the likes of GodRx, there's the likes of Neptune, but the thing is, those players seem to be forming challenger teams, so that's a question as to who else they're going to get. This was from Viper Gaming here, just kind of put together his theory on what they might be trying to do, but definitely intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. What I did think was kind of interesting is that when these other players, so let's just, you know, look at Karma or Formal or Crimsix or Scump or even Octane most recently, these guys generally didn't really like the scrimming side of things, because these players were never really at risk of dealing with the off-season that Clayster's dealing with. Usually, you know, if Karma wanted to keep going, or if Scump wanted to keep going, they don't have to worry about that, right? They can just play for the team that they want to play for. What they got frustrated with, especially the likes of Karma, was playing the game day in, day out, scrimming, getting on, putting all the hours in, just, you know, doing that as you get older in terms of years and age, you want to do other things. It just was no longer viable for these guys. It wasn't enjoyable for them, and they wanted to do other things with their life, which is fair enough. Clayster seems to be in a different boat where he's absolutely still fully committed and wants to play his best COD, thinks that he can, and is, you know, fully on board with grinding out the game and taking it to the next level. But it's the kind of outside of the game stuff that is more problematic. So yeah, very much interested to your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.